Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And it is a special day today. It is Friday, and I'm actually doing a show. I'm not running around upstate New York today. I'm not. I am here, so I'm doing an AMA and Ask Me Anything, trying to get you guys to kind of ask more types of questions that you might ask of me. Some of you ask them odd questions sometimes. Doesn't always connect with the topic of the day, but AMAs are more open to that, obviously. So if you know it's going to be a good show, and you know it's going to be, then click the button known as like Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. You know what I'm talking about. Click that button now. Don't wait. Let people know so people will bounce around. But more importantly, already right now, you can pop this into some other event right now. Put this into a Facebook page, whatever the case may be. Pop this someplace so that people can see what's going on. It makes it so much better. You guys know that I'm doing Sharpe Way stuff only on Sharpe Way social media properties. No longer am I doing them on a lot of Sharpe properties, so I'm losing a little bit. So since I'm losing, I would like you guys, if you don't mind, to share this around, because the more you share this around, the more I can gain more followers for that. And of course, subscribe to this channel if you would, this page, whatever you're watching it on. I would appreciate that. The start of this one is talking about how bad the economy is. Is it that bad? Are people exaggerating? Is it real? I mean, maybe, but I'm going to show you a couple of clips from people who are saying it's pretty bad. So you can tell me, is it bad? Is it not? And if it is as bad as they say it is, who's going to get the blame? They're going to blame Trump for this? Not for this? Is it his fault? Is it not? Or is it not really that bad in the first place? And Trump's doing great. Which one is it? And I think we can chat about that. Or, of course, anything that you would like us to chat about. But I just want to have something to start with. Before I go there, I want to talk about this weekend. Tomorrow. Why am I here and not running around upstate New York? Because I'm downstate tomorrow. That's right. I am downstate tomorrow. If you want to come see me tomorrow, Saturday, you can come see me Saturday if you would like. And here is where I will be. Two different spots. I will be in Blauvelt, which is in Rockland County, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern at Bailey Smokehouse. And I will then that evening, 6 p.m., be at the Alchemist Lounge in Staten Island, New York. And by the way, you know who will be joining me? The one and only Mike Voss. Mike Voss will be with me, both of those. If you want to meet me and Mike together, he's downstate too. So I don't drag him around that much, but downstate I often do. So yes, if you want to come see me and Mike Voss, you can. We will be at Bailey's Smokehouse in Blauvelt, which is in Rockland County at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And we'll be at the Alchemist Lounge on Staten Island at 6 p.m. So come see us if you want to. Me or Mike or both, whichever you prefer. I don't care. Just come out. We'd love to see you if you can. I appreciate it, guys. Again, I do this because I want you to know that I am out here. You can just come meet me. I am actively campaigning. It does matter. Come see me, right? Whether you care about my campaign or not, just because you want to hang out, all good. Happy to have you. So very often I bring up Michael Smerconish. I always say he's the fairest guy on CNN. And he brought up a very important piece, I think. And let's watch a couple minutes of that, and you'll see what Michael Smerconish is talking about, what he is yapping about. All right.
Is AI coming for your job? A string of headlines this month suggest the answer is not only yes, but soon.
That's the part that's scary. Is AI the big reason? Is it Trump's fault? Not Trump's fault? Does it matter? Is it AI's fault? Would it have happened anyway? Is he doing enough?
New York Times reported that Amazon is on the cusp of replacing more than 500,000 warehouse jobs with robots.
500,000.
And plans to automate 75% of its operations. The same outlet followed up days later with news that Amazon will cut 14,000 corporate jobs as it plows more than $120 billion into data centers and AI development. Then there's the Wall Street Journal reporting that UPS had cut 48,000 positions in management and operations, and that tens of thousands of white-collar jobs are disappearing as companies turn to artificial intelligence to do work once done by humans. Meanwhile, Axios warning that one of the most important real-world debates in America right now is whether AI will cause a short-term job apocalypse.
Now, that is what's scary, right? And as you see it, I have been talking about this literally for years. I've been saying how particularly young men, but anybody, but in this case, heavily young men, should go to the trades, get in the trades, build stuff, do that kind of thing where you're talking with people, mixing with people. That is what matters more than anything when it comes to our future. I've been saying it for years. That's what my K through 10 program in 2017. Did I know this specific AI problem was coming? I did not. I'm very clear. I did not go, it's because AI. I was saying this is going to help for whatever comes next. I knew there'd be some type of automation. I did not recognize AI in 2017. I wish I had. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I would have brought that up.
Among white-collar workers, even as the stock market hits record highs. In other words, as the markets boom, the human workforce is quietly being rewritten.
Yes,
some
it is.
AI pioneers are saying the quiet part out loud, that by the end of the decade, 99% of jobs could be automated away.
Think about that. If that's true, that seems far-fetched to me. I feel like that's too much, but I could be wrong. But say it's not 99%. Say it's 50%. Whatever the number is, right? Whatever that number is, it's a huge number, and it's going to change everything. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean there won't be jobs. That means those jobs will be gone. In theory, there should be other jobs that will replace them. I don't know if that's true or how it's going to work, but it doesn't necessarily mean that 90% of people will be unemployed. Doesn't necessarily mean that.
And if you think that kind of automation sounds sci-fi nightmarish, Democrats are already trying to turn it into a campaign slogan. Axios reports that the left's new energy isn't just about tax the rich, it's about taming the robots. From Bernie Sanders to AOC to Zohran Mamdani in New York City, socialists using AI as a call to arms, warning that tech greed is about to crush the American worker.
Now, here's the point I'll bring up with this. You'll often hear Roger Meadows come on the show and often talk about the idea of having workers own this. I'm not against that at all. And this is the overlap piece here. That's a problem. Michael Smerconish isn't making this clear at all. He's saying, well, socialists think the only way to stop it is to have, corporate greed, blah, blah. The socialists he's showing right now are not people who want the workers to have power. That's not who those socialists are. The one they're showing right now are those who want state control. Kathy Hochul wants state control, which is no better than corporate control. No better. In fact, I would say worse, because the state control has legitimacy to put you in jail and to arrest you. The corporations don't have legitimacy for that. There's still monopolies, but different legitimacy. So they're both bad. If you're saying you want to have workers to get something out of this in some way, Yang brought this up years ago also, Andrew Yang, in a different concept, but the idea that if you're going to be using humans as a way to assist technology or AI, which in this case, he was talking more about information, same idea, that's what AI runs on, then you should somehow get that money or something back to the people. Now, he was talking about his $1,000 dividend thing, which is fine. Freedom dividend, just whatever. I'm not saying that's the answer, but in some way, the people, I sound like I'm communist all of a sudden, but the people should somehow benefit from this, whether that's through ownership, a check or something, or this, something like that. My worry is Michael Smonash is saying, oh my God, we don't want the corporations to own this and greedy corporations control it. True. And we don't want the government either. Monopoly is monopoly. They're both bad.
The co-author of that piece, Jim Vandehei, CEO and co-founder of Axios, joins me now. So, Jim, you say there are two trends ripe for Democrats, the evolving popularity.
Now, that's the political piece. We don't have to go any further on that, but I just want you to see that piece, that right now, the Democratic answer is not, oh, let's find a way to fix it. The Democratic answer is socialism and let's blame. So I want to grab another one. This is totally different. This is Eurodollar University, and this guy's talking just about what's happening in the economy in general and a spiral that he's talking about that I think is interesting. Excuse me. This is a spiral he's talking about. This is a different guy talking about a similar issue, but a little bit different.
It was reported that Verizon is going to announce cutting maybe 15% of its 100,000 strong workforce. You know the drill by now. We started out with a no hire, no fire economy, forgot how to grow, then shifted to no hire and some firing.
And to be fair, this guy's been savvy on this. He said, we're not there yet. He's been pretty good at saying where we're going. And he's like, we started with kind of a stagnant. Now we're going to go to no hire. Then we're going to no hire and a little bit of firing. And he's like, we're moving along. And he talks about the beverage curve, which for those who don't know, it's beverage curve. where, as we, unemployment goes up, the jobs just start going away, and it's a cycle that we can't stop.
Consistent with the flat part of the beverage curve. What we keep seeing now from all of the data, as well as these announcements, Verizon, Amazon, and a whole bunch more, is the potential escalation. That was always the danger.
That's the worry.
Once you get on the flat part of the beverage curve, it may not take much to go that much further down, even flatter.
And that's his worry. His worry is it goes so flat that it doesn't even come back, right? That because people don't have jobs, they're not buying things, and they're not buying things, so there's no need for more jobs. Therefore, no one's buying things. Therefore, and so and so and so and so and so and so.
I've been writing in our deep dive analysis that even though we don't have the government data on jobs and employment, the truth is we don't need them.
And there's the second piece, right? Trump's not putting out the job numbers. Oh, people getting scared about that one. Yes.
Consumers have been telling us all along what to expect, and wouldn't you know it, that's exactly how it appears to be working out. In fact, this one comment from the Dallas Fed's Texas Services Outlook survey basically sums up both what's now emerging more clearly in the economy, as well as how we got here. Quote, businesses felt recessionary for over a year.
Yes.
No wonder we knew the jobs numbers were off and kept saying there was no way they were as good as reported. And we were correct. These are very tough times for small and mid-sized businesses. And the markets have been saying the same thing and warning about the same potential. And with Verizon being a big cap major service provider, times are clearly tough all throughout the economy.
And this is the point that Trump and the Trump administration have not been accepting at all. They've just been going, well, things are great. Best economy we've ever had. But people are seeing it. It's not. It's not. I'll leave you alone for this one too. And there's one more small piece I'll bring up. Now, I talked about the AI unemployment curve, and now I'm going to bring up one more piece, and this is housing. This is the last piece I want to bring up to talk about this. Then we'll move on to other things. But just want you to see that this is not just one thing I'm bringing up. This is all over. This is all over.
The U.S. Treasury Secretary just warned of an impending housing recession, and he is blaming the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve. I've never heard that before. What? The Fed having a problem? Yeah, kind of.
Officials in the Trump administration are now acknowledging the housing market is in recession, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying high U.S. interest rates may have caused a housing recession.
So the question is this interest rates? Is it the Fed? Is it AI? Is it just people not needing jobs, or some combination, or what?
In particular, he's warning of this recession and pointing the finger at the Fed. Specifically, he called on the Fed to bring down mortgage rates so they can end the current housing recession. And ultimately, what Treasury Secretary Bessent is talking about is the record low home sale volume in America today. Quite literally, right now, at the end of 2025, we have the fewest amount of buyers on the housing market in 30 years.
Think about that. Not just that. Here's what I've seen. And you guys may not believe this or not. I'm actually seeing rental prices go down in New York City. It's true. Rental prices go down in New York City. Yes.
The number of existing home sales.
See, Mom Donnie was right the whole time. Michael just yelled at me. He's yelling at me now. I'm teasing Mike. Don't yell at me. He's going to yell at me tomorrow.
In the U.S. plummeting by 35% since the pandemic peak, now resting at 4.06 million on an annualized basis through September. That's roughly the same as what we saw at the depths of the last housing crash in 2008.
Yes, people are saying that the crash is looking just like 2008. I'm seeing that all over the place, that this is as bad as 2008, if not worse. Now, what I did not bring up here, I'll stop this one. What I did bring up here is farmers. There's a whole thing on farmers, a whole thing on women getting hammered. I mean, there's so much data on this. Guys, if you don't get it, this is not going well. This is not going well at all. So I bring this up because the economy's in trouble. We have to find an answer. I know we do. So, and also people yelling at tariffs, how that's going to be bad too. Little J, thank you for the $2. How would your plans help? What Little J just did, Little J, what he just did is he did, of course, he did super chat. If you guys want to go to the front, you can super chat me if you want to. I appreciate it if you would, right? And you can super chat me by just here super chatting me, here or ranting me on Rumble, either one. And your comment or question goes to the front. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you for $2. How would your plans help? Well, let me go back to what would have happened and what can happen. If people had listened to me in 2018 when I told them how to fix this, we would have 8 years, almost 7 years of a bunch of New Yorkers who would be able to, number one, go to specialty colleges to figure this out. We would right now have a bunch of people who are specializing in AI right now. That's what would be happening, because that was my whole plan from 2017. Not necessarily for AI, but specialty 2-year colleges for the last 2 years of high school. I talked about this on Joe Rogan in 2018. What would have happened? Naturally, we would have had literally AI colleges. Why? AI prep schools, because that's what the market would have wanted, right? Once you take out the federal government and you take out the state governments, the last 2 years, people use their $20,000 to do whatever they want. They would have decided, oh my God, AI is here. That would have happened a couple of years ago. So you would have seen that happen across New York State. There'd be a bunch of AI specialists across New York State, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. There'd be hackathons. We would be at the top of all the states right now when it came to AI. We'd be the top right now, without Kathy Hochul trying to say, we're going to make an AI hub in Buffalo, which was a dumb, stupid idea. It was a terrible idea. Not working, was never going to work. I told you that it wasn't going to work. My plan would have worked because he would have had a bunch of young kids figuring this shit out early. So that's number one. Number two, people would have been in the trades. Again, I've been pushing that. You get rid of the federal dollars. There's no need to push college because schools get money based upon college placement. So once you remove that incentive, they'll stop pushing kids into college. That happens, New York State wouldn't have taken so many migrants in. Wait a minute, Larry, migrants was because the border was open. No, migrants was because companies want migrants for workers. That's why. This was the mistake. This was purposeful by the Biden administration to get these people in. That was on purpose because big business wants them. Well, if I would have provided them in New York State with literally the last 7 years, literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of young men who want to be in the trades, they wouldn't need all the migrants. I'm not making that up. That would have happened. They wouldn't need them. They would have gone someplace else or not come here or something. They wouldn't be here. We wouldn't need them. Look at the trades today, filled with migrants. Of course, young men aren't doing it. Why? We told them to go to college. We basically pushed them into college for the last 8 years. What if you had not done that? Wouldn't need them. They would be here doing the jobs. Not done. We wouldn't have all these farm issues either. Because remember, my plans for farms were the same in 2018. Small farms create small businesses. We'd have a bunch of small businesses running all around New York State right now. That's how we'd be fixing it. People will be using AI on family farms. They'd be using AI in small businesses, many family small businesses. They'd be using AI in local communities. And then when the AI begins to fail, again, if you had done what I said, and no one did, but again, on my website for 8 years, if they had done that, what would have happened? Well, we would have local communities doing the $500 a year, $250 a year into local communities, into where we'd have built it up to where whatever AI destroys, the community can build. That would have been happening by now. My plans would have prepped New York State to survive this and to thrive in this better than any other, and they still will. Now, are we behind the curve now? Yeah, we are. So it's not going to be as easy. It isn't. So now what's my new plan? If you notice, my New York State Social Trust is a newer plan. Why did I bring up the New York State Social Trust, and why did I not bring it up in 2017? Because in 2017, I thought the state was still salvageable without it. That's true. It is no longer salvageable. We are far behind the curve. The country is collapsing in many ways, right? It's bad in many ways. I could bring up some more videos showing you how this is. It's bad. A lot of states are on their way out. Tariffs aren't helping. This stuff is not helping. It's bad. So now we're so much in debt. New York State gets a $20 billion bailout every single year. So how do we fix that? Now we need a New York State Social Trust. We need to have that trust. Why? To pay for things while we recover. If you just implement my stuff now without having a social safety net right now in New York State, people are just going to suffer and beg for more Mamdanis. We need 25 more Mamdanis across the country. That's how that will work. So now we have to create a social trust. We have to create the same as Norway or Singapore so that we can make this happen. So my plans will still help, but now we need a hand up now, right? If we don't do that, it won't work. We'll just collapse. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you for that, by the way. I do appreciate it. All righty. Let me grab some more comments if I can. All righty. Vivek says, how would you fix international trade without subsidies and tariffs or liability laws libertarian? Okay, two separate questions. Let me try both. Here's what tariffs and subsidies should be. This is, you're asking how, okay, what would I do if I were president? Or is it like Larry's magical world? In my wonderful magical world, the only tariffs would be is maybe something like 5%. I'm making this up, a low percent, 5%, a 5% tariff period against everybody. That's it. Just 5% to give us a little bit of a boost. That's it. That'd be the end. No more. Period. 5% across the world, across the thing. That's done. If for some reason I would require something that I really believed was like the end all or be all for the country, I might create a subsidy or a tariff against that one or two specific things, and there'd be an obvious reason behind it. It would be like, I don't know, the example that the Japanese have in the past is the Japanese want to be able to feed their population with rice. They don't want to rely upon foreign rice. So they would heavily subsidize or support local Japanese rice farmers to ensure that Japan would never be reliant upon other countries to feed their people. I get that concept. So something like that, okay, we don't have that issue, right? That's not what Americans would have, but something like that, maybe, right? But I would rather, if I were, I'd rather have a temporary subsidy for an industry that we might need. For example, I'm giving up a concept. We have a lot of rare earth minerals in America, but it's expensive and dirty and challenging to get those minerals out of the earth, which is why we get them out of Africa. They don't care, or China don't care. So what I might do, I might subsidize that industry to get it up and running. Perhaps it will be a short term, and it'll be a very specific way of doing it for a specific reason, for a specific time. If we required these rare earths, and again, I'm not an expert in that, so I'm not sure it's that. I'm giving you a concept. This is conceptual only. There'd be details, of course, if I thought it was the real answer. So maybe a 10-year plan. X dollars or X so-and-so for the year one, and then going down to year 10 to build the industry up so that now we can at least compete on the market and have enough for our own country. So that kind of thing I might do. That's conceptually maybe. Again, only if I thought it was for national security. Otherwise, I don't want any subsidies. I don't want any tariffs. But I would do that if I thought that was critical for the country. I wouldn't want the country to go under. So I'm not that much of an ideologue. I hope that makes sense. Liability laws, libertarian. Why wouldn't liability laws be libertarian? I'm not sure what that means. Most libertarians I know are all about restorative justice. If you harm somebody and you are liable for that harm, you should in some way, shape, or form restore them, whether that's through money or deed or property or something. Yeah. So of course, if you harm someone, you should try, in whatever the case may be, to restore what you've taken away, if that's possible. Sometimes it isn't possible, right? But the problem is our system right now is just punishment. So conceptually, liability laws are good. In reality, they're garbage because most of them just like put people in jail or a fine is paid to the government or something, right? I would like laws that say, okay, Vivek, I did something that harmed you or took away your rights or you lost money or you were physically harmed. Is there a way, besides me just being punished, that I can also make you whole? I should be compelled, even if by force, if need be, to be for you. Larry, what about the non-aggression principle? Oh, no. If I somehow aggressed against you, I need to somehow restore that. And if I won't, then force can be used upon me so that I will somehow restore this to you. That's what should be happening. So your question is very vague and broad. I try to narrow it down. I hope that is at least clear. So, all righty, let me keep going down here if I can. Let's see here. Phil says, what has more economic potential, New York State or the UK? Without question, New York State. The UK is a broken nation. There's no recovery. It is on its way to third world status. There's no recovery. It's in trouble. Basically, the UK is London. The second AI destroys London, the UK is, I don't know, Belarus. The UK is London right now. I wish it wasn't, but it's London. I wouldn't be surprised if they brings it again. Like the Scots go, we're out, we're done. They double breast it. Wales goes, we're kidding. We're not part of this place anymore. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So I hope that answers your question. Definitely New York. New York has a better shot. Yeah, New York has a better shot. So, all righty. Adirondack says, I have a feeling I should be very concerned with my personal finances in today's economy. This is a tough one because the dollar is in trouble. So personal finances are challenging, right? You might think, well, what I should do is I should put away a nest egg. I should save money and such. And I'm not against saving money. I don't want to act like I'm against saving money. But the problem is, if you're saving money and your money's losing so much value, are you really saving money? Is there a better way? And I would argue that I'm not against saving money, but I would also consider some form of investing that money in things that won't lose value necessarily. And I'm not saying like just buy gold or something. I'm not saying that kind of thing, but it could be anything. It could be something as much as knowledge that you would use. Investing in that could be something, right? Property that you think is valuable. In theory, I'm on YouTube, so long range hole punchers might be something you invest in, and the pews that go with it. That might be something to invest in. So I'm not saying, buy gold. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't buy gold. I'm saying saving may not be enough, and you may want to invest in resources that will be valuable in the future, whether those resources are products, whether they're investments with people that you care about, like buying, being close to people that you can go rely on if you need something and they can rely upon you. I'm not joking. Chickens, animals, farmland. I'm not joking when I say you might want to invest in these things because they may have more value in the future than the US dollar. So yes, I'm obviously spending a lot of time investing in people. So yes, there we go. All righty. Andrea says, if power corrupts, why keep giving politicians more? True. Absolutely. So, all righty. Grab some more of these if I can. Duke says, the problem is national debt. Yes. The overprinting of currency, creating inflation. Yes. Politic buffoonery, creating economic insecurity. I agree with all of that, but I don't think it's only that. That's why I showed you 3 or 4 different things. I showed you AI. I showed you guys literally where they're blaming the Fed. I showed you jobs. I show you different pieces, and I brought it up because I don't think it's only that. Now, to be forward, when it comes to denotative versus connotative, the inflation comes from the national debt. However, people don't see inflation as that. People see inflation as prices going up. That is how the average American sees inflation. Since the average American sees inflation as prices going up, if prices go up for any reason, the average person goes, see, that's inflation. Now I know, but the libertarian goes, no. That's the market bringing prices up or down, market fluctuation. You're not wrong. It's not how the average person sees it. The average person just goes, prices go up equals inflation. Now, when that is how you see it, you have to add other things. I'm hoping I'm being clear on that. If you are someone, the average American, who sees prices go up equals inflation, then you have to accept that it's not just that. It is that, but it's more. I hope that's clear. All righty. Andrew says, it pays when you do things with your hands. When you make stuff with your hands. Yes. That's true. But Andrew goes on to say, automation has been going on since Walmart rolled out those self-serve kiosks. It ain't new. However, most, not all, but most technology in the past, most automation in the past, it wasn't a replacement of a human being's brain. It was a replacement of a human being's body in the past. Now it's starting to replace the brain. That's a different thing. That wasn't a thing, right? So it was basically making humans physically stronger in some way by doing something and using that's stronger. Now, in theory, is making something smarter. So that part's new, right? Replacing humans is not new, true. Automation, not new, true. But they were in the past, we just replaced basically our arms and legs. We didn't really replace the brain. Now we kind of are. So that does make it different, is all I'm saying. That did make it different. So, yes. All righty. Liberty Lady, thank you for the $5. With separation of the two properties, if you used to watch The Sharpe Way on LS, X, or Facebook, please follow The Sharpe Way on those platforms too. Help get live stream viewership up. Thank you for that. Yes, guys, this, it's challenging for me as I started to run for governor. I had to break up, for legal reasons, I had to break up my Larry Sharpe stuff and my Sharpe Way stuff. So viewership is cut. It's how it works. It's the price I have to pay. I knew what I was doing when I started this, that I would pay a price for it, and I'm paying a price for it. So I'm asking you to help me out, right? I get that you're like, but Larry, I used to watch you on this or watch you on that. I know. Please still click the like button as I ask you all the time. Please repost this as I ask you all the time. And also, please subscribe to whatever channel or page you like to watch on. And please do it on all the Sharpe Way properties, X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Please go on there and check those out. It really does matter. It really does matter. So if you can, please do that. It does matter. So thank you for that, Liberty Lady. I do appreciate it. And if you want to support me in other ways, you can, of course, become a member on YouTube. Head over to Sharpe Way YouTube, click that join button, $6.99 per month. That's a very expensive coffee every month. If you can do that, please do so. Helps me out tremendously. It makes everything move forward, helps the team move forward too, helps us keep this going in a time where it can be challenging. You know that I'm sometimes struggling to get shows done because how busy I am during the day. That helps out a lot. So if you can do so, please jump on board, guys. I know I bug you about it all the time, but it's because it matters, not because I'm bored. So thank you for that, D. I appreciate it. All righty, let me walk down here if I can. Andrea says, they are making people on public assistance get a job, which I agree. But where are the jobs? Yes. Yes. True. They can't just go, magic job appear. Now, how that works, Andrea, I agree completely. Look, I've said this before. If we don't come up with a better answer, we are going to UBI. And I just made Mike Foss throw up a little in his mouth. But it's still true. We have to come up with a better answer, which I am trying to do. If we don't do that, we are going to UBI. That is the answer. As I've said a gazillion times, bad answer, no answer. We take the bad answer. UBI, not a good answer, but an answer. It is an answer. There's no doubt it is. If we don't have a better answer, we're going to UBI. Just, and for those of you who know, universal basic income, when the government gives everybody a check every single month. That is our future if we don't find a better answer. Why do you think I spend all my time and energy doing this? To try to show you better answers, to try to explain about better answers. That's the reason why. So yes. So it doesn't matter. Public assistance is eventually, if we don't do anything, it's going to be the same. So yes. All righty. Matt says, don't worry, the banks will still get bailed out and be okay. As always. Yes, Matt's correct. Yes, absolutely. Phil says, have people seen Larry's video today on farmland? I don't know if they have. It's on, is it on Insta? Hold on, where is it? What is it on? Is it on Facebook? Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I think it's on Facebook. I don't remember. All righty. Hold on. What am I doing here? Got to pop up on Facebook here. And let me see if I can find it. If it is here. I think it is. I think it's on Facebook if I remember right. Hold on. And then I'm probably a liar now, right? It's probably not. I'm saying it. It's probably not. See if I can find it. All right. I'm trying to make this here. Is it going to work? Okay. And it is on Facebook. You were right. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I was right the whole time. Larry was right the whole time. Hold on. If I can get this. All right. Let me pop this up and I will show you now. All righty. Since you said so, I will now show you. This is my video. There we go. All righty. I'm here in Fort Edward, New York, Washington County, where New York State is doing what it always does, trying to support the environment with green energy while destroying the environment. True. Trying to support communities while destroying the communities. True. Trying to support farmers while destroying farmers. That guy's smart. We decided that the right answer is to bribe farmers who are already struggling to surrender their land for solar farms. They're doing it in a way that makes sure that not only are the farmers struggling, but now the local wildlife, birds, bees, they're all struggling too. The answer, of course, for them is, well, don't worry about it, because we'll swap out land. We'll take some of this land, and then maybe we'll give them land someplace else, as if the birds and the bees can just decide to move up and go someplace else. That's not how the environment works. The right answer here is instead leaving this land alone, allowing the farmers to keep their land, letting the birds and the bees enjoy their area while someplace else, here in North Country, we have land everywhere, building nuclear power. Nuclear power, less area, more power, supporting local communities with good long-term jobs and allowing these farmers to actually keep their land and to grow.
This guy's smart. Who's this guy? And good looking too, saying all the right things. Yeah, this is me traveling across New York State. Yeah.
New way of thinking about our environment.
True.
A new way of energy in New York. A new way of supporting our farmers and communities. We need a new New York.
He's right. So yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So the reason why you see me often do those types of videos is because I show people that I'm actually out and about meeting people. It's actually true. So yes, thank you for that, by the way, Phil. I appreciate that. Mike Voss is in the house. I don't know if you were here or not. I've already made you throw up in your mouth probably twice already. We have been in recession since August of 2022. You brought that up before. There was an extra hidden 1.5 million unemployed from the Biden administration. The pressure already existed. The Fed did not help. That's true. The Fed has not helped at all. I agree. And the funny part is there are still people, Mike, who think the Fed is helping. There's still people who think that. So yes, and I think people still think that's not an issue. So yes, true. All righty. Let's see here. Everyone's agreeing with you on this one. Okay, yeah, you're not getting any pushback here, Mike. No pushback. So yeah, I think it's kind of true. There we go. All righty. Ooh, Kimberly, I like this. They're not getting bailed out. They're getting fed. Ooh, nice. Fed money. Nicely done, Kim. Nice. I like that. That's good. Humir is there. He says, Larry for governor of New York. Yes. Lunatic says, Americans are not critical thinkers and trades need critical thinkers. You know, here is what I'll say. I don't like how generic that was. That didn't feel good, Lunatic. See that? You hit me, you hurt my feels. That didn't feel good. So I'm going to say young Americans haven't been trained to be critical thinkers because they've been trained to take tests. They've been trained to pass a test. And you and I both know that in the real world, test taking means shit. Zero value whatsoever. The only place where a test taker and a high IQ matters is in academia. So if you are a youngster and you want to be a teacher or a professor and you want to be in academia, then that's very valuable, right? But only if you want to be that. If you're like, hey, I cannot wait to be some professor in some college, I want to, teach, whatever, that's what I want to do, then test taking, critically important skill, and getting academics and having a high IQ, these things matter in that specific field. Outside of that specific field, zero value. Means nothing. So I think you're totally correct. You want people to think better. And the trades, not just trades, there's three because they're very similar. The trades, farming, and entrepreneurship. All three of those is what actually gets people thinking because they have to solve the problem. You by default are a problem solver if you're in the trades, if you're a farmer, if you're an entrepreneur. They're actually very similar. There's a problem, go fix it. So I would argue any of those three work, and we don't have enough of those three. And we've been, in fact, poo-pooing those three for a long time. We've been like, that's dumb. Go to college and get a job in finance or something, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, I agree with you, but I don't like the way it's said. You said it, so I'm going to be mad. So yes, that's why. Yeah. Ganjin, never encourage Lunatic, ever. Never encourage him. What are you doing? Don't encourage him. Ganjin says, Lunatic Libertarian, unfortunately, I have to agree. Then again, someone having a college degree doesn't imply they have critical thinking skills. Exactly correct. Yes, but don't encourage him. But yes, you're absolutely correct. You can be educated and be smart, and you can be educated and not smart. You can be uneducated and smart, uneducated and not smart. Does not matter. I completely agree. Yes, I completely agree. All righty. Where am I? Okay. Andrea says, what happens when the Fed can no longer write a fat check? Okay, clearly, Andrea. Okay, okay. Haven't you heard of MMT? All right. Modern monetary theory, also known as the magic money tree, MMT. We can do whatever we want. See? Research MMT. God, integrate the program. We owe the money to ourselves, so we can just keep printing money forever. Forever. We just keep printing forever. I wish I was joking. They've written books on this. It's utterly garbage, absolutely not true. And people still believe it and do it. Yeah. At one point, as always, at one point, it all collapses. That's why. That's what happens. At one point, it all collapses. Patrick says, I have a question. When a libertarian says, I believe in reducing unnecessary spending, what's considered unnecessary spending? Do libertarians say that? I don't know what libertarians say that. But okay, I think I know what you mean by that. You will often find Republicans say that who claim to be libertarian. They're not. They're Republicans who just, at this moment, don't like the Republican Party. That's a problem that libertarians have. And it's a big problem that we have. And that is people who are not libertarian claiming to be libertarian. I remember there was time when people were saying Ben Shapiro was libertarian. Okay, Ben Shapiro is not a libertarian. Just to be clear on that, he's not. But there were times I remember years ago, like, well, Ben Shapiro, he's kind of libertarian. No. A libertarian is going to say, I want the smallest government possible, period, which includes spending, obviously, the smallest possible. The question becomes, how do you find the answer? In theory, I would like the least spending possible. It doesn't mean that I don't want people taken care of. As you see, if you pay attention to my policies, I'm not about just cutting things. I'm about finding a local alternative because people still fall down. People still fail. People get unlucky. People make bad decisions. These things happen. I just think government is bad at actually helping them. Government actually services relatively well, meaning I'm in trouble. Here's enough money to keep you exactly where you are. Here's enough services to keep you exactly where you are. Now, do some people benefit from the government and become great? Yes, just happen. Some people do. But you can see already, the vast majority of Americans don't. The poverty rate's not getting much better in many cases. You're seeing people still struggle and be unhappy, and we've been putting more and more money into these programs. So the programs don't work. So here's how I would say unnecessary. As community picks up the slack, that's government spending becomes unnecessary. So as community creates its own mutual aid funds to support people, as community is able to support children, as communities are picking up schooling, as that were to happen, spending would go down, right? So for most libertarians, not all obviously, you would want government spending on several things. Number one, again, most libertarians would agree with this. The government should be spending its money on courts and cops that are based on doing one thing, and that is protecting people's rights. Not courts and cops to enforce the will of the leadership, which is what we have now. They want courts and cops that are based on defending people's rights. In our perfect world, obviously I'm talking perfect world, Patrick. It's not where we are at all now. The government would protect our rights and we would protect ourselves. And the higher the government is, the more it just protects you from local bullies, because there will always be local bullies. We'll never get rid of local bullies. Some guy trying to take your land, some guy trying to harm you, whatever. The government would protect you from those local bullies. So that's what I think most libertarians who are listening would agree that will be a good world to live in. Now, we are nowhere near that. Most of the spending we have now is just spending on stuff like foreign wars, which, again, almost every libertarian, there are exceptions, obviously, would say all of our foreign wars are useless, all unnecessary spending. Most libertarians would agree with that. Some wouldn't. I don't want to talk for all. I don't want the all please come get me. But me, all our foreign wars useless. I've expressed just recently on just 2 days ago, my show 2 days ago, I talked about how I think our military-industrial complex should be dealt with, right? Which is nuclear arsenal so that we are protected, right? That's our insurance. So there's mutual assured destruction, AI/cyber, so we can cover that, right? To make sure that we don't get AI'd or cybered out, we can defend ourselves and counter-strike if need be, keep the nation strong and safe. Those two things are critical at the mass level. At the small level, we need things like drones and special forces to take out individuals who are doing bad things for us, against us, like the Osama bin Laden of the world, that kind of thing. And then lastly, a Navy that will open up all the trade lanes, keep the trade lanes open. I think that, to me, feels like the right amount of spending, whatever number that is. All those bases we have, we only need bases. Again, I'm asking my opinion. I'm telling you my opinion. Would only be those required to keep the sea lanes open. Whatever that number is. Is that 10? Is that 20? Whatever that number is. It's not 700. Maybe it's 10 times 20. Whatever that number is, it's that number. So I think most libertarians would think that. The idea is unnecessary is obviously arbitrary. And the problem is, to be forward with you, the question is very loaded, because I think everybody would say that, right? What happens when a Democrat says, I believe in reducing unnecessary spending? A Democrat would say it too. What would a Democrat think? Generally speaking, a Democrat would be against things like corporate bailouts, corporate welfare. Libertarians would be against that too. A Republican would say, reduce unnecessary spending. They might say things like, all these damn handouts to the poor people. They might say that. So unnecessary spending depends on who you talk to. It's a loaded question. And I think maybe you were trying to do a gotcha. I can't tell. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I take all questions anyway, even if it was a gotcha. Hope I answered your question. Even if it was a gotcha. So, Liberty, thank you for the $5. Thoughts on video memes coming out of the Sharpe way, YouTube shorts, along with your normal short podcast clips. Maybe one meme video for every 3 regular clips. Thoughts on video memes coming out of the Sharpe way, YouTube shorts, along with your normal short podcast clips. Maybe the meme video. Good question. I wasn't for a long time when the shorts came out. I wasn't a shorts guy. Like, I didn't like watching the shorts very much. I didn't. My daughters love either like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube shorts. They love that scrolling thing. They enjoy it. I've gotten to like it more. I have, and since I spend most of my time I spend on YouTube, I spend some time on Twitter here or there, sometime on Instagram, rarely, but here or there. Most of my time is really spent on YouTube. So I think the shorts have become much better. I like them now more than I ever have. And so, yeah, and I'm good looking. So I think that's helpful. People like seeing a handsome guy go back. Yeah, I'm good looking. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. I'm good looking. So that's why people like it. So that's what I would say. Yes. Stop laughing. Anyway. So I hope that makes sense. All righty. Let me grab some of these here if I can. All right. Lunatic says, libertarians need to get off the nap. We as a populace are very much being aggressed against. Get off the nap. The nap is the non-aggression principle. It depends on how you look at that, right? The nap. I think that's the issue. How do you define it? The problem with the nap, the nap is conceptually a good thing, but it depends on, and for those of you, again, for those of you who don't know, what he's talking about is the non-aggression principle means, as a libertarian, you never initiate force or aggression or coercion against anybody. You never initiate. You can respond, right? If you are being aggressed upon or defending someone else, you can respond to aggression, but you are never to initiate aggression ever. That is the concept of the non-aggression principle. The problem is, how do you define that, right? And it's not so clear. So conceptually, I think it's wonderful conceptually, but can it be pushed? And too many libertarians walk down roads that are like, well, what about this and what about that? Which means nothing. It's academic talk, which is fine. It's fun if you want to have an academic conversation. But in reality, if you keep the concept alive, I think it's a great concept. The idea is just don't start stuff, right? Don't start stuff. I think that is a critical piece. And but again, at what point is aggression, right? If I start swinging my arms around your face, is that aggression? Well, you never hit somebody, so that's not aggression. Well, if I'm swinging my arms around your face where you can't even move, is that aggression? Kind of, yeah. So what can you do? It's tough. So there we go. All righty. Patrick says, also, how does one consider himself pro-choice as well as anti-abortion? Can you elaborate? Very simple. That Now, okay, this may be gotcha questions. Okay, no worries. I'm happy to give you. I think these are gotcha questions now. But again, I don't care if they are or aren't. Patrick, happy that you're here. Please keep asking. Of course. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm sober. I'm sober. The only drug I use is caffeine. I don't do weed. I don't drink alcohol. None of that stuff. But you can drink as much as you like. I'm pro-choice, but anti-drug. You can do as much as you like. I think you shouldn't. It is my opinion. You shouldn't. I would like you to have a better, happier, fun life to where you think that doing drugs is not the right thing for you. That I would like you to not need that to feel happy or to gain that that dopamine hit. I would prefer that. And if you ask me my opinion, I'll tell you that. And if you want me to help you, if you choose to ask for help, I will give you help in making that happen for you. But if you're like, Larry, I don't know you, I don't care about you, I'm going to do what I want. Okay. I'm not here to push that. The same thing. So when I say pro-choice as well as anti-abortion, I think abortion is terrible. I would never ask my wife, girlfriend, baby mama, whatever, to get an abortion. I would not ask that. I would not ask that. In fact, if I got some woman pregnant, I would try to convince her to have the baby. That is how I feel. I don't like the idea of it. I don't want that to happen. I think you shouldn't do it. But I also recognize that the best way to end and to lessen the amount of abortions is to create an environment to where women choose to not have abortions. If women choose to not have abortions, there will be no abortions. It's that simple. Outlawing abortion doesn't work. What outlawing abortion does is it punishes poor women. That's what it does. Wealthy women go to wherever abortions are illegal and they just go get abortions. We found that out in UK. We found that out in Italy. We found that out in Spain, all places where they had abortion laws. Ireland, I'm sorry, not England, Ireland. Ireland used to have anti-abortion laws. It was flatted. The wealthy women flew to London and got abortions and the poor women got punished. So it doesn't work. So why would I want to do that? But now, so what can I do as governor? I have promised as governor that if I'm governor, there will be fewer abortions in New York State at the end of my 4-year term. How do I know that? Because I'm going to force women? No, because I'm going to use the bully pulpit to say you shouldn't, because I think you shouldn't. And I say that openly. However, I also have to make an environment to where women choose to not have abortions. How do I do that? Several things. Number one, I make adoption a whole lot easier. I make surrogacy a whole lot easier, which it isn't in New York State at all. So why does that matter? Because now some woman is pregnant and there are literally thousands of couples, thousands of them, who would happily take that baby, who would happily make an agreement, surrogacy, to pay for all of her healthcare, happily, eagerly pay for all of her healthcare, and to take their baby off her hands once that baby's born, all over the place. But in many places, you either cannot do it, it's against the law, and believe it or not, it's because of stupid anti-slavery laws. I'm not joking. That's a real thing. You can't have surrogacy because they start breeding slaves. I'm not joking. That's how stupid that is, but that's a thing. Or they make adoption so hard. We have to make sure that everything's perfect. But two people can just get knocked up and have a baby, but this person has to be perfect to get a baby? Silly. So that's number one. And number two, why is there any barrier to a woman getting any contraception that she wants? There should be no barrier. It's your body. If you want to use contraception, you should use contraception. You don't need a doctor to tell you. Do what you want. So if I make contraception easier, if I make surrogacy and adoption easier, there will be fewer abortions. That's how I can be both pro-choice and anti-abortion. And again, I'm sober, but I am for legalizing cannabis. Eventually, we should legalize most drugs, if not all, eventually over time, because it's your body, Patrick. Your body, your choice. I agree. Hope that makes sense. All righty. Let's see here. You guys going back and forth. I love that. Yes, the Australia says the robot repair tech has a job anywhere. All right. That is a big deal that you're bringing up. I'm agreeing with you, right? Being able to understand how to do this, that matters. How to handle this stuff, that matters. You're right. Knowing the tech, critical. Being able to either repair it or being able to prompt effectively, all those things. Yes, 100% true. I'm over at Rumble. Americua says, I always thought having a whole bunch of batteries would be good investment when the world falls apart. What perfect example of that? Yes, a bunch of batteries. That's a good investment. I agree. A lot of batteries. I love it. 100%. I think that's another good idea. That's my idea of investments. Not bad at all. So, all righty. Grab some of these more if I can. I'm trying to be good here. Mr. Matt's Arcade says, Larry, how do we fix our healthcare system? What's good in terms of Obamacare? This is a long, for those of you who care, I've done How We Fix It Wednesdays, and I've done, what's the other one I used to call it? Solutions Saturdays, Sundays. You can just Google Larry Sharpe and healthcare, and I've got tons of ways of how to fix it. But the number one thing we have to do is we have to encourage the shift I'll give you. This is the perfect example I can give you. This will take time to shift, but it is the answer. For those of you who've been in business for, say, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, give or take. If you go back 20 years, what was the normal way that an IT tech professional would service your computers or your servers or your technology? It was called the break-fix model. What does that mean? Your computer's broken or isn't working. They come in and fix it and charge you by the hour. So how do they make money? They make money if your computer's broken. If your computer's never broken, they don't make any money. The longer they spend with you, the more money they make. It is in their best interest for your system to go down often. It's in their best interest for them to spend a lot of time fixing your stuff. It's in their best interest. That's how it works. That's our current model when it comes to healthcare. The doctor only makes money when you have a problem. This is why when you go to a system that takes healthcare, particularly in terms of insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, every time you leave, no matter what, every time you leave, you get either a prescription, a test, or procedure. Every time. Why? That's how they make money. They bill you, right? They bill you, constantly bill you. Not just that, they fill. If you go to a place that takes insurance, you get an appointment at 2:00, they see you at 3:45 because they are packing people in. They see you for 5 minutes, next, 5 minutes, next, 5 minutes, next. Why? Because they get whatever Medicare gives them. Medicare gives them $20 a person. They got to get 6, 8 people in 1 hour. Got to. They can't make any money. They have to. That's all I care about. The problem is with that system, you are not the customer. You are not the customer. The customer is the government or an insurance company. So what do? They cater to their customers, the government or insurance company. They don't cater to you. You're in the way. Be very clear. You're in the way. That's how our healthcare system works. I wish it didn't, but it does. Now you might go, well, Larry, it's impossible. You can't work any other way. Well, the wealthy would disagree because the wealthy don't do that. If any of you are wealthy or know wealthy people, you know what I'm talking about. They don't do that. The wealthy go to private doctors and they either write a check or swipe a credit card. They don't play insurance. I mean, they have insurance, but what Cadillac Insurance means is that their insurance company just reimburses them. So they don't go there and show their insurance card. They go there and pay. They get a receipt. The receipt is sent to they don't send it because they're wealthy. So they have admin people. The admin people send the receipt to the insurance company. The insurance company reimburses X%, whatever that is. That's the agreement they make. So maybe it reimburses 50%, 10%, whatever. And most of the people who are wealthy, they're not paying for their insurance. They get a Cadillac plan, which is paid for by their company. So the company pays. Why does that matter? It doesn't count in their incomes. They don't pay tax on it. So it's basically pre-tax money. That's how the wealthy get away with this. The wealthy have pre-tax money paying for their healthcare insurance, which is a Cadillac plan, which reimburses them. Now, they already make lots of money anyway, so it's okay. So what does that mean? If I'm wealthy and I have an appointment at 2:00, I go in at 2:00, I get seen at maybe 2:10, maybe, probably 2:05, 2:00. Why? Because I walk in, I swipe a credit card, or I give them a check. Or I've already got some type of credit card on file or whatever, so they just charge my card or charge my account when I show up. Oh, Mr. Sharpe, how are you? Great. They charge my card, whatever. That's it. I'm sitting in a nice waiting room. It's everything's good. It's not like an old beat up place. It's nice. The chairs are all brand new. Why? Because I'm the customer. Therefore, they must cater to me. So the wealthy have this model already. In fact, if they're super wealthy, you actually fly, and there's a thing called medical tourism. So you go to other places in the world, and they put you up in a hotel. I'm not joking. And you treat it like a king because you're wealthy. I got it. So you might go, Larry, we're not all wealthy. True, but we can change the model. That was my point from earlier. Back in the day, the IT had the break-fix model. What did the model change to? For those of you who are in business, you know. It changed from that to instead, now it's not a break-fix model anymore. Now it's a monthly subscription model. So you have X number of computers, X number of servers, X number of workstations, whatever it is, you pay a flat monthly fee. That's it. You pay this amount of money every month. Now, what's the incentive of the IT people? To keep your stuff going just fine because they never want to see you. They hope they never have to show up because if they don't show up for the entire month, they got paid for nothing. What a great model for them. So their goal is your computer system is always working because if it's working, you don't call them. You don't call them, you paid them for nothing. That's what they want. Now, they know that every once in a while, stuff's going to go down and they're going to go there and bust their ass for X number of days, months, whatever, weeks, whatever it is. And they're going to pay a lot of money, but they're going to get paid other months for nothing. That's their goal. It is in their best interest to make sure your computers are awesome. So change that and put that into the same idea. Medical, you pay monthly, whatever it is, right? Well, insurance is $1,000, whatever. That's because insurance is in a way. Don't have insurance in a way. How do we know this? We already have it. It's called the gym model. Gym memberships. Gym memberships are cheap. Why? If you don't go to the gym, they make a ton of money. They hope that your January is great and you never come back. It'd be awesome. So doctors be the same way. So now doctors go, I can't wait to keep you happy. Here's what happens. What happens if your doctor doesn't see you in 6 months or a year? Do they care about your checkup? Maybe not. Well, in this model, the doctor cares because you get really sick, they're paying a lot of money. They're going to call you up. You okay, Matt? What's going on? You didn't show up. If you go to a doctor right now who takes insurance, generally speaking, he or she sees you for 5-10 minutes, maybe, right? Maybe. And they just go, okay, you have this. Here's your prescription. Here's your so-and-so. Any questions? Thanks. But when you write a guy a check or a doctor a check, you write her the swipe her credit card for her. She sits with you and goes, okay, Matt, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? What's your stress level? What's going on? Why? You paid her already. She got paid. She doesn't require another thing. You swiped your credit card. She got paid. She's good. So she's going to talk to you, figure out what's going on. You want better health care. I do the same thing. Instead of punishing the rich, let's take their system. They have a better system. I see it in New York. New York City, it's two-tier system. The wealthy go here. The non-wealthy go here. So when people say to you all the time, we need Medicare for all, those people don't mean Medicare for all. They mean Medicare for y'all. You guys get Medicare. I'm not taking that. I'm going to a private doctor. I ain't doing Medicare stuff. I ain't doing that. You have that. I'm going to a private doctor. That's what they actually mean. So yes, Obamacare is a disaster. Shouldn't exist. Needs to go away, but you have to have another answer behind it. The problem is we don't have one now. And this system takes time. So here's how you begin to build that system out, right? I told you it's going to take time. Here's how you do it. You start with people who are Medicaid, Medicare. That's how you start with it. That's how you begin. Right. I talked before, and people ask me about how do you start with, going from rent to own? How do you begin that process of making it move? And I mentioned the idea of starting with public housing, right? It's an easy way of starting. Here I'm saying you start with Medicaid, Medicare. Why? Actuaries know about how much money you're going to spend based upon your medical history, your age, your genetics, your ethnic background. Oh my God, Larry's ethnic background. Still true. So they know, okay, Matt, the odds are you're going to spend X dollars per year, whatever that is. I'm making this up. I have no idea. $1,000. They know that because they're actuaries. That's how they're coming out with insurance rates. They know this. That's their job. So, okay, Matt's going to spend about $1,000 a year on Medicaid or Medicare, whatever he's on. So we're going to give him a card, like an EBT card, same concept. This is a card that is, you get $1,000 on it. That's what you get, $1,000. And you can use that in any authorized, and you swipe it, it's authorized, any authorized medical facility, whatever, in your state, in the country, whatever, however it decides. I think country, but go by state. So, but state, in the state. How do they do it? Now, that private doctor can go, wait a minute. So I can get Medicaid money without having to do all the Medicaid stuff? Yeah. Without fighting the Medicaid system, without having administrators, without having to get my money? Yes. Wow. Well, I want that. I know. Of course you would. That's why private doctors don't cost that much money relatively, because they don't have to worry about all the other staff and the crap. They get paid because you're swiping credit cards or give them checks. Oh, well, what happened? You would find doctors now trying to get that money. So what do people do when they try to get that money? When you become the customer, Matt, they try to draw you in. They say, hey, Matt, Don't go to the Medicaid doctor who takes Medicaid. Come to me and swipe your Medicaid card. Come to me instead. I'll give you special deals. I'll lower the price. I'll be good to you. I'll do a monthly setup, all those things. And I go, but Larry, what if I get sick? I only got $1,000. No, I didn't get rid of Medicaid and Medicare. It's still there for you. You still have it. So if you do get sick, if you do get into a bet, you get cancer, whatever, you get something terrible, you're still a Medicaid, Medicare patient. That's a change. But now you go to the regular system. I'm giving that extra $1,000 system, $1,000. Now, Larry, what if I don't use the first year? Save it. What? Just became a savings account. Save it. Now $1,000 next year. Huh. I got $2,000. Yeah. Yeah. Over time, what happens? You build up a savings account. This is how you begin it. When people see that, how it works, nobody will want Medicaid, Medicare anymore. You will watch them want this system. Now, it's voluntary. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's voluntary. As always, no one's compelled. If you like Medicaid, Medicare, take it. And you'll find people who like it go, people love Medicare. Look at the surveys. Yes, because it's Medicare versus nothing. Well, versus nothing, it's amazing. You're not wrong. When you survey somebody, would you like nothing or would you like Medicaid? I will take Medicaid, please. Of course, every time. Again, good answer. I'm sorry. Bad answer. No answer. Bad answer. Right? I say it like every week now, don't I? So it's so common. So you begin that process that changes culture, changes doctors, and that's how you wean people off without getting rid of the safety net. Right? To the earlier point I was bringing up with, was it Patrick was asking me that question? I don't want to get rid of the safety net until there's something there. So once we have a better system, dump the government system. But you've got to have a system in place first. People still need help. People still have to move forward. People still get in trouble. So let's set the system up. Hope that makes sense. So that was a long one, but that was a broad question. So I could go deeper, but I do a whole show just on that. There's so many detailed pieces of it forever. So I hope that was helpful. All righty. Let me grab this. Christopher says, has the legal cannabis industry have a direct impact on the economy in New York? Yes, and it should have more. Our attacks on cannabis are insanely stupid. We should open that up. You would watch. New York is a great place to grow hemp. It just is, right? Our soil and our climate in New York State is a great place to grow hemp. There should be hemp farms everywhere, but it should just be cannabis, right? It should just be like weed products. I'm not against weed products. I'll go back to my same thing before. I'm pro-choice. If you think cannabis is good for you, please take cannabis. Nothing against it whatsoever. Enjoy as you see fit. But the issue is we should be growing hemp, hempcrete, hemp plastics. Hemp is great. We should be doing it. It's bad. Yes. Andrew says, should AI be used in decisions in criminal justice system, like the courts, for instance? The way that our judges are now, yes. And that would be my threat. My threat is if judges are just going to follow the law and they're not going to be human, which is happening now. I have to follow the law. I don't require you anymore. I can replace judges with AI. It's a whole lot cheaper. We'll save money on robes. Oh my God. And it'll be fairer. It may be wrong, but judges are wrong too, but it will be fairer. The AI is not going to go, you're black or you're gay or you're whatever, so I'm going to treat you differently. In fact, AI probably hurt women because women tend to get much less sentencing. But if it's AI, I won't care. Same as men. Women should not want AI judges. Women, you should be against AI judges if you're a woman, because women get far less sentences to judges. It's demonstrably proven throughout time. But AI wouldn't care. Everybody did this, they done. So if judges aren't going to be human, which they sadly often aren't, replace them with AI, 100%. What's the difference? If you're not going to be the human you're supposed to be, if you're not going to put your humanity into the courtroom, well, then why bother? AI it all the way through. Yep. They make about Larry. They could, program AI, and you can bribe a judge. And judges right now are beholden to the party system, not to the Constitution. So it's not like we have good judges now. Remember in New York State, judges let people out because of bail reform. They didn't stop that dumb law. So yeah, who cares? All righty. Michael says, realistically, if you have not built up investments for the past 20 years, you can't keep up with the devalue of dollar due to interest on debt and spending. Yeah, Mike, I agree. That's my point. Thus, invest in mandatory services and skill instead. My point, yeah, I agree. Mike's correct. It's very hard. If you already have a nest egg that is that has enough money that's growing enough that it can somehow, compete, right, with interest and our debt spending. If you have that, like your investments are that good, then yeah, Mike is correct. I don't do what Mike says then and just keep that. You got that going already. But the vast majority of us, to Mike's point, do not have that, right? So that's my point. I'm not sure how much money I would put into cash. Kim goes, anything that will help you survive with no money has value. Now that's smart. That's smart. Yes, absolutely. Lunatic says, I'm always looking for fellow lunatics. I live in Wisconsin. Access to wild turkey, deer, bear, rabbit, or like that. Plenty of land we can seize if we're more powerful than other groups. See, I told you don't encourage this man, and you did. And now he's taking over stuff. See that? So yes, don't encourage the lunatic. Don't do that. Yes. Kim says UBI is what it will be. I know. Yeah, I know. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid it, Kim. I'm trying to avoid it, but I get it. So Ingrid says Milton advocated for universal income. Why is it a problem? He actually didn't. His plan is similar to my plan. He advocated not for UBI. He advocated for negative income tax. It's similar, but not the same. It's similar. Negative income tax is a bet. When it comes to all UBI schemes, negative income tax is the best of the UBI schemes. If that makes any sense. So what's the difference? Negative income tax means you have a specific floor. The difference between negative income tax and UBI. UBI is everybody gets a check, whatever that is, right? Everybody gets it, whether that is whether you're Bill Gates and whether you're, Donald Trump, whether you're me, Ingrid, doesn't matter. We all get a check. And the check is meant to be an amount that it's survivable income. It is not great income, and it's survivable income. So whatever that number is. The problem is in America, in a place that's so vast, survivable income in New York City is very different than, say, rural Iowa. So do you make it by zip code? Do you make it by area code? Do you make it by state? I don't know how you would make that number, but sake of argument only, just so we have a conversation, it's $2,000 a month. In New York City, that's nothing. But some parts you could survive, you could live on that, right? Depends on where you are in the country. Some places you could live on that, some you couldn't. But sake of argument, $2,000 a month. Everybody gets it. Whether you are Bill Gates, everyone gets it, no matter what. Once you turn 18, you get it every month. That's UBI. And the goal is you can survive. But if you want more, you can work harder to get more. Now, that's not necessarily a bad concept, right? That you can survive on that number. If you want to get more, you can. So we'll get more. What Milton also advocated for in this case is it would remove all other public assistance. That is not what modern people are saying. So you have to add that piece, Ingrid. He was about removing all other public assistance. So there's no Social Security. There is no EBT. There's no welfare. There's no Section 8. So they go, well, he wanted UBI. Yes, but he wanted to remove everything else. And there's logic, which is logical. If everybody gets a check every single month, then why do you require the bureaucracy of all the other things? You don't require it. There's no need to have Social Security Administration. You don't need it. Everybody gets a check. Done. Well, I'm a veteran, so I get, no, there's a check. Well, I have 3 kids. No, there's a check. Well, there's a check. So this is why he was for it, because it destroys the bureaucracy. Now, here's another reason why I'm against UBI. That will never happen. If I honestly believed, I do not at all, but if I honestly believe that if we had a UBI, all other bureaucracy that's giving out money would go away. No Social Security, no EBT, no Section 8, no nothing else. Just get a check and shut up, and that's it. The amount of money we would save on bureaucracy. Oh my God, all people are fired, all people are gone. Now my eyes open. Maybe this is the right answer. Like, I get it. That's what Milton wanted. He wanted all the bureaucracy gone. Nothing else. The problem is the second that we would do that, guaranteed someone goes, well, I can't just get my 2,000 because I'm a veteran, so I need 2,100. Or I have 3 kids, so I need 2,500. or I paid into Social Security, so I need 2,600, or I'm disabled, so I need 2,800, right? That would wind up happening. And of course, you would go, well, the system can't handle that. Well, it doesn't matter, because Congress people who want to pander for votes will go, ooh, I could pander to this group. I'll do that. You find reparations. Of course. Well, I'm black, so I should get 2,500. Of course, that would happen. So who do I pander to? I pander to my group, whoever my group is, and I get them extra cash. Well, veterans, they sacrificed their lives, so they get 2,600, whatever. So that's why it wouldn't work in that regard. But I get your point. I hope you get mine. Now, I want to go back to negative income. I went way over. I went all over the place here. I'm sorry. UBI gets me a little bit triggered. All right, let me get back if I can. The reason why Milton advocated for a negative income tax or UBI is because, in his view, it destroyed everything else in the state. It got rid of all other forms of public assistance at all. It's a simple, everyone gets a check. That's it. Now, theoretically, I get that completely. I get it theoretically. As I said, I don't see it happening. I don't believe it would happen at all that way. If I believed it would happen that way, I'd be open to the idea, because we would save a lot of money. We would. And then there's no means testing. I don't have to, how much money do you make? But what he talked about was the idea of negative income tax, which means there's a flat number now. We decide what that number is. Say it's the poverty line, as an example. I'm going to make up this number for the sake of argument only, Ingrid, just for the sake of argument. That number is $30,000. That's the poverty line. Again, I made that number up. For every dollar you make, you lose 50 cents of this. So as you make money, you lose a little bit. So as an example, you get $30,000 a year. I made the number up for the sake of argument, but I actually made $10,000 that year. So I went out and got a job, or I worked, or I hustled, and I made 10 grand. So I made 10 grand. I still got my 30 grand, right? No. Because now that I made 10 grand, 50%, half of that comes off my 30 grand. Let me explain. I got 30 grand. I made 10 grand. Half of that, 10 grand is 5, comes off of this. So it's 25 grand plus 10 grand. What happened? Well, I made now 35 grand. What does that mean? Total, I made 35 grand, right? Does that make sense? So as I make more money, my stipend goes down. I can work my way off of UBI. That's negative income tax. I work my way off of it. So once I make $60,000, half, 30,000 that comes off, I make no UBI. So if I'm able to get 60 grand, I get no money. So it's by default means tested. That's what Milton was about. He wanted negative income tax, a little bit different. You have a reason to work. As you work, you come off of it. That's the concept. This way, Bill Gates doesn't get this. You're a banker making 6 figures, you don't get it. But you're in trouble, you can't work, you get the full amount. That's the concept. I know I went long on that, I'm sorry, but there we go. I hope that answers your question. That you asked what the problem was, I explained it. I hope that was clear. So yeah. Ganchin says, really? Yes, true. That's true. He actually did do that. Yes. All right. Patty says, in your opinion, what's the best state and what is the best country at this time? That's a tough one. That's a tough question, Patty, because best is very subjective, obviously. I love New York State still to this day, even though it's broken, because it's a beautiful state, very diverse, a lot of great stuff in it. So I do love New York State still. And the second thing is New York State has a great history and it has so much potential. There's a lot of potential. I'm not sure where to go with that. Are you saying, where would I move if I left New York? Probably New Hampshire. Good gun laws. No income tax. Maybe that. But New Hampshire's damn cold. Doesn't have the same history New York has. The same diversity New York has. I guess I'd probably go there. Best country. Still America. I mean, America has a lot of flaws. I mean, a lot. You can see it. It's everywhere. And we're getting worse. But I'm not moving. I'm not leaving America. I'm not leaving. I'm You're not hearing me go, I'm moving to Canada. I'm not going to Canada. I lived in other countries and I wouldn't go someplace else. So I would still say America with all its flaws, with the problems that it has, and has lots of them. Still the best. When I'm moving to Germany, not going there. I visited. I like visiting Germany. It is the fatherland. So I have visited. I would go there. Literally the fatherland. Yes. So UK, well, UK is okay. UK has northern UK is very pretty. Southern, northern UK is pretty. Yeah, I don't know. Japan's interesting. Nah, I still think America. I'm not leaving. Yes. Andrew says Milton advocate for negative income tax. Yes, that's correct. So see, Andrew knows that. That's absolutely true. That is true. Yep. So thank you. Yeah, there we go. All righty. There we go. Phil says 2 negative income tax. There we go. So yes. So yeah, everyone, you guys answered my question. I never go about it. Okay, there we go. Anyway, yes, true. All right. I hope I explained it well enough for you guys. So, Andrew said 35. I picked 30. So yeah, it's about that. It's about that. And Andrew goes on to say, yes, it encourages one to work and move upward. Yes, that's why it's better. I agree. I would rather have negative income tax. Again, of all the UBI schemes, negative income tax is the best of the UBI schemes, right? And it's the best, and it also allows you to move up, as Andrew says, and it also ensures that the wealthy aren't getting anything. So it is less inflationary. It's still inflationary, but it's less inflationary. So again, if you've got to pick one of them, that's the one to pick. And my worry is we're going to have to pick one of them. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we are. So yes, there we go. All righty. Ryan says, I love test taking. People do. Yes. Adarang says, the U.S. education system has had a mission to dumb down the populace. They've been wildly successful. True. True. Kim says, educated has absolutely nothing to do with common sense. Also true. Absolutely true. They're not connected at all. You can be educated with common sense. You can be educated with no common sense. 100% true. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. I do want to cover, if I could, I've been talking about two things, AI and socialism, both of those two things. That was my first thing to talk about was AI, then the move towards socialism, the move towards UBI, move towards all those things. Why would I think it's not a good idea? I'm going to tell you why. It is, if you look at the world and what's been happening, you can see that those who have been more socialistic have tended to move away from socialism eventually. They move towards something else. And you can check it out over at the Advocates for Self-Government. Click the link that is actually in the description in YouTube, on Rumble, and also on Facebook. Click that specific link and head over to their articles. Go under economics and look for Vietnam's cure for poverty. Free the economy and admire the rich. Huh. That's not what Mom Donnie said. I don't get it. Yes. Vietnam, literally, as they said in the 60s and 70s, if we lose the Vietnam War, the commies will take over everything. It was called domino theory back then. If you knock down one domino, they'll all knock it down. And Vietnam will be a communist place and the whole world will become communist and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, none of that was true. None of that was true. Vietnam stayed very much authoritarian, very much classic, I would say, for us, communism, authoritarian, communistic. Of course it did for many years. Now they're our trading partner. They have opened up their economy, which is what happens constantly. China has become less socialistic, less communistic, still authoritarian, but they've opened up their economy. They begin to do exactly all these things. We're going the opposite direction. We don't learn from them. They already went communism / socialism. They went there, and to maintain it, they had what they always happens, which is become authoritarian. How can you maintain a forced socialist system? How can you maintain a forced communist system? Force. You have to become authoritarian. Now, libertarians, by the way, for those who don't know, we're not against socialism. We're against forced, mandatory government socialism. If you want to be socialistic in your own world, you may. You want to have a co-op. You want to join the Amish. Go on with your bad self. Enjoy. Do as you see fit. The problem is when it's forced, when it's mandatory, when the government forces you. That's the problem. Vietnam had that, and they went, this is a bad idea. Let's turn things around. Do me a favor, head on over there, read this, about 5 minutes. After you're done reading it, do me a favor, read this on that talks about this Vietnam, what they've done, how it's worked, all those things. When you're done, do me a favor. Say what you think, grade it, and then share it. How many times do I gotta say it? Please share this thing. Let other people see it. Let it come back in. Let other people see it. Let them come back in, look at it, view something else. The more conversation we're going to have, the better. This really does matter. The Advocates for Self-Government, click the link that's in the description. Go over there, read this article on Vietnam, Cure for Poverty. Grade it. Once you're done grading it, share it. Larry, I don't have time. You got time. I know you do because you listen to my show. I didn't ask for any money yet, did I? Okay, I might in a minute, but I haven't. So this is free. See? It's free. Do this. There are such things as a free lunch. This is the free lunch. It isn't. You're watching me. So yes, please do this, guys. It helps me out tremendously. They're a sponsor of the show. Please go do it. Read it, grade it, share it. It really matters. Please take care of it. It is the Advocates for Self-Government. Excellent. So I spoke about that. But there's another aspect of AI. It's not just taking our jobs. Of course it is. But it's doing something else. It's also taking our information. It is. So where in the world can you kind of learn about what it's doing, what it was doing? Where can you figure that out? There's a place. You know it was civil because it's always civil. Yes, civil this is what I love. And I'm totally biased because it's over a year ago. It's from Naomi Blackwell, who I adore. I love this woman. She's amazing. If she's watching, you know I adore you. So she is all about privacy. She is all about privacy. If you want to talk about privacy, this woman knows exactly when, how, if, all the ins and outs. She's made it like she's amazing.
AI is changing the world fast. It's
She's right.
already deeply integrated into our daily digital activities, whether
True.
we realize it is or not, and it's here to stay.
It
Google
is.
says it's launching its
I have been saying it's here to stay for a long time. It is, and she knows
own
it.
artificial intelligence-powered chatbot to rival ChatGPT.
Perplexity has eliminated 90% of Google searches for me because it is an answer engine versus a recommendation engine.
An answer engine versus a recommendation engine. Damn.
Chatbots like ChatGPT, Bard, Perplexity, Claude, they're incredible tools that can
They are.
skyrocket our productivity and
She's
give
not
us
wrong.
abilities that were previously well out of our reach. We can
She's right.
easily generate images and
Look at that, the Terminator
videos,
surfing.
write articles and legal documents,
True.
instantly get advice or answers to our questions,
Yes.
even generate code. But
See
like
that?
all tech, it can be a double-edged sword.
Uh-oh.
And there are some serious privacy concerns to consider.
OpenAI gathered and shared private information without consent.
Bing's
What? How could that be true? It is. You want to find out more? Join Civil. See, you're worried. Like, my God, ChatGPT's taking our information. How will I learn? Have Naomi Brockwell tell you because she's brilliant and she'll do that. Just join Civil. CIVL.com. Code Larry10 for 10% off. Larry, the coolest name on the internet. 10 for 10% off. Larry10, join Civil, and have Naomi Brockwell talk to you about privacy. She's got like so many things on Civil. It's all about privacy. She always gives you the right answer. She's always on point. Please check her out. She's been on my show before. So she's awesome. Please check her out on Civil. It's CIVL.com. Real information, real back and forth, no conflict machine. Not a thing here. Not a thing here. Instead, getting what you need on Civil. We are upgrading civilization here. Please, they are a member. They are become a member because they are a sponsor. Take care of that. Thank you. All right. I brought that up. And I want to add one more thing if I could remember. Tomorrow, guys, if you're going to be in New York State, please join me. If you're going to be downstate, not upstate. I'm upstate a lot. Right now, I'm going to be downstate tomorrow. I'm going to be in Blauvelt, New York, which is in Rockland County. And then Staten Island, I'm going to be at the Alchemist Lounge on Staten Island at 6 p.m., 1 p.m., 6 p.m. tomorrow, November 15th. And I am bringing with me the man himself, Mike Voss. He will be there too. So if you want to see him or me or both, whichever or neither, just show up anyway. Guys, come on by, say hi. And to both places, do me a favor. Purchase something if you can, right? If you're in a spot where you can purchase a meal, please purchase a meal. If you're not in a spot where you can purchase a meal, buy a cup of coffee, support the local guys. Buy a cup of coffee, buy drink, beer, whatever you can do, whatever you can swing. Please pick up what you can swing. If you can't swing at all, just show up. It's fine. Just show up. But if you can swing it, please support a local guy or gal. I appreciate that. All right. Let me walk down a couple more of these comments if I can. All righty. There's so many of them. I want to keep going. All right. Bronna says, if I remember correctly, Mitt Romney claimed he was libertarian. Yeah, they always do. And they're not. That's our problem, right? That's our problem. We do have that problem as libertarians, is that people often say they're libertarian when they're not, and people don't know any better, so they just believe it. So, yeah, I think that is a problem that we have. We have to deal with that issue. It's challenging, but I just have to keep showing people who I am, and that's it. Andrew says, certified minarchist. I roll with that. I'll take that. That's fine. That's still libertarian. I'm still libertarian. Absolutely. So, all righty. Ingrid says, UBI was tried in Canada, and in 2 cases, it was a success. I'm still trying to determine why we wouldn't help people achieve and succeed. The current system is designed to fail. UBI might work. It could work. It depends upon what happens in the culture. Generally speaking, when UBI happens, you find, okay, are you doing UBI and they still get all the other bennies, or are they getting UBI and not? Two questions there. Second, is it a local community that's supporting each other, or is it random people within communities? Also, so I don't know the details of this. And then how do you say it was success? It's another issue. So yes. All right. Mike says to you, all tests of UBI outside Kenya, MIT, have been short-term and limited scale, not conclusive, especially when a test is skewed to hit artificial targets to justify the concept. I'm not sure about these issues, to be clear. So, look, the reality of it is we may be going down that route anyway. We may just be going down that route anyway. So, yes. All righty. Phil says, oh, okay. I got to check my email. Phil makes me work during my show. You know what? Phil makes me work. He's like, you got to go work. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can work now. Phil's making me check my email during my show. He knows that. All right, Phil, I'm doing it. Okay, I'm doing it. Phil's going to be mad at me if I don't do it. So I'm going to do it now. Okay, hold on. Wow. Okay, a lot of stuff. Okay, I got to show these things. A couple attachments. All right, hold on. I got it. Let me grab this and pop this over if I can. Phil got me doing this stuff. Phil made some AI stuff. So let me show it if I can. Hold on, I'll dump those. All right. First things first. All right. This one is. Here we go. Time to get the band back together. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's me putting the band back together. I'm on a mission from God. Remember that? Yes. There we go. So I appreciate that. Okay. It's not bad. I like that. Pop that up somewhere. That's a good one. What else we got? We got another one here. And then, oh, okay. That this looks like this looks kind of like a biting off somebody else who I think you know who I'm talking about. This is from the Empire State, Rise of the Liberator. Larry Sharpe for governor. I like that. That's good. Yeah. Got it. I wish I had a 6-pack like that. They give me work for it. I gotta work on my 6-pack. I'm not there yet. On my way. There we go. On my way. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. Lil J says, at Soundbites, what mandatory services to invest in? Would regular citizens be able to invest in the NIST? Would investment in the NIST or public or hedge alt to UBI? All right. The advantage of a New York State social trust, if we had one, yes, anyone could invest in it. If you wanted to, you could, and you'd get a return just like anyone else who would invest in it. Of course you could. The advantage of that is if you wanted to, you'd be investing in New York State. So you could take your investments and put it in the NIST. The NIST would be paying for things in New York State and you get a return. So yeah, not a bad idea. If you're going to invest in your own state. It would work. So yes. I'm not sure what you mean mandatory service to invest in. I don't know. I guess if the NIST in theory would be paying for education off the bat. And then eventually, if I were to do a negative income tax, I wouldn't do it based upon taxation. I would do it based upon the NIST. What I always say is, and you've heard me say it many times, socialism works wonderful when you add capitalism. Add capitalism works great. By itself doesn't work. How do I know that? What did China do? Add capitalism. What did Vietnam do? Add capitalism. Norway has a lot of social, a massive social safety net. Huge. They have literally $1 trillion sovereign fund. Singapore, tons. Great stuff. People love Singapore. Love it. Sovereign fund. Capitalism. When you add capitalism, that's when it works. Again, socialism is great with capitalism. Totally works. Just add capitalism. Totally works. But people who think, again, this is socialism versus, again, kind of nouveau versus old school. Old school socialism right now is actually Mamdani and those guys. It's kind of old school Soviet style. That always fails unless you add capitalism. But the other one now is the newer one is workers owning the means of production. That can work with or without capital. That doesn't matter. That's not a thing. That's whatever you feel, right? You can do it either way. But yeah, so you would want to use the NIST to pay for a negative income tax. This way the taxpayers aren't paying for it. The NIST is. You can invest in it if you wanted to, up to you, but that was what happened. Again, what would happen? The NIST would have a goal, right? If the government is giving you UBI or negative income tax, the goal is to keep paying you so that you keep voting for the people in charge. So its goal is to keep you on the government teat. The NIST goal would not be the NIST goal is to make money. So it doesn't want you on it. So it will be doing its best to get you off of it. Similar, you want to make incentives work for the individual. So then the NIST job would be, if I can get you to make more money, it would want to because it pays you less negative income tax. So its goal would be to assist you. It would obviously want to support programs and plans that didn't service you, but that helped you up so you can come off the negative income tax. By default, it would want to do that. Why? Because the NIST is a separate company with a separate CEO, with a separate board, all getting paid based upon the results of the NIST. So it wants to get you up and running so it can stop paying you. It doesn't want to keep paying you. The government wants to keep paying you in perpetuity. So you're beholden to them and you keep voting for them. The NIST would not want that. I hope that makes sense. You have to align incentives effectively. That's the issue. So anyway, thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. All righty. Where am I? Okay. Let me grab that one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Little J was talking to, okay. I got it. Thank you. All right. I'm clear now. I hope I answered your question anyway. So, all righty. Let's see here. You guys going back and forth. All right. Lunatic says, I'm an alcoholic. I abuse my body and myself instead of taking out in the world. Well, I would rather you do neither of those. Lunatic, I'd rather you do neither of those, but I guess that's a better way, I guess. I'm not sure. But again, you own your body, your choice. You own your life. But if I had a choice, if you ask me, I would rather you not do that. It's my view. Kim says, Ryan, I love German beer. I like that. I love that. Lunatic says, I can't shut my brain off most nights. That is a common issue, believe it or not. It's a common issue. It's why so many people can't sleep well. You're not wrong on that. Yes. Adirondack says, abortion, legal, safe, rare. I would love that. I'm with you. I would love that. Yes. Andrew says, you mentioned on your appearance on Cross Politic, I don't remember what that was. I do so many appearances. That culture must precede law before law can take place. Is it possible in this time to foster the right kind of culture for law to take place? All the time. That's literally what I talk about. I'm always talking about that. If you notice, my laws, none of my laws are mandatory. Everything I propose is voluntary. I allow you to do the cool thing if you want to do my cool thing. If you don't do it. So yeah, my goal is to get you to voluntarily do it, which by default changes culture. If people start doing the thing becomes culture. That's my whole point. Even my idea that I just brought up with talking about the healthcare system. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Don't get your card. Just keep on Medicaid, Medicare if you want to. My hope is you would start doing it. Your friends would see it and go, that works. I want that too. That's how you change culture. So yes, that's how you do it. You have to create an environment to where the community begins to step up. As the community steps up, then culture begins to change. At that point, you don't require the government anymore, right? That's the goal. The goal is to not need government. That's the goal. right? Adirondack says free markets in healthcare. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. 100%. Yes. All right. Genshin says, Larry, I'll throw a curveball. What if the majority of women who get unexpected pregnancies choose abortion because they don't want to go through labor? If that happens, would your plan be a success? That's okay. That's not a thing. It's not a curveball. That's not a thing. What if all men decide they want to chop off their left arm because their left arm hurts? That's not a thing. Women don't go, I don't want to go through labor, so I'm going to. That's not. Are there some women who might say that? Sure. But there is literally zero chance. And I said again, zero chance that majority of women don't want to go through labor. So they don't, and they all get unexpected pregnancies. That's not a thing. That's what happens if all men want to cut their left arm off. I guess we'll have a bunch of one-armed men. I don't know. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. And if you have a decent healthcare system, which is what I also propose, a private healthcare system where women are getting good healthcare by doctors who care, then why would they not want to go to labor? That's some ganjan. I love you, brother. You just made that shit up. That's not a thing. There's no way that if, again, assuming my plan goes into effect, right? Assuming my plan goes into effect, I have a healthcare system to where women are getting the same privatized healthcare that the wealthy are getting. So you're getting that. And I'm making it better and easier for women to do this. Plus, there's a negative income tax paid by the NIST if they get into trouble. So they have a place to go. Community is supporting them. Again, we're acting that my plan is working, right? Assuming my plan's working. If all these are in play, why in the hell would women go, oh my God, I'm not going through labor? That's not a thing. There will be women who don't want to have that baby. That will still happen, of course. But again, I want to encourage people to do that. This goes back to the earlier part that Andrew was talking about. If culture, right now, culture is, oh, sweetheart, you got a baby, I'll get rid of that baby. That's culture. In many parts of this country, that's culture. I would like culture to be, oh my God, you're pregnant. Are you going to get it adopted or are you going to keep it? I would rather that become our culture, right? That's a much better culture than you need to get rid of that baby. Much better culture. So I'm hoping that, and of course, if you make contraception easier, faster, you'll have less, whatever that number is, of unexpected pregnancies. Whatever that number is, you'll have less of them, right? Obviously, men will still do things that are silly and they'll get themselves in trouble because people are human. It will still happen, but you'll lower it, right? You'll lower it. So yeah, the question's kind of like nutty. Anyway, I hope I answered it anyway. Hope I answered it. So, all righty. You guys went back and forth on that one. Nico says, wow, it's awesome to hear Larry supporting with healthcare. I do. I'll be very clear about that. I said before, I absolutely do. I think everyone should be able to have access to healthcare. I just think that Medicare for all is a disaster, but I 100% do. I agree. I'm against the mandate. I'm not against universal healthcare. I think we should get universal healthcare. And I think we should get the best healthcare in the entire world, and we should. And the wealthy do get it, Nico. The wealthy absolutely do get it. So why can't we copy them? Yep. Adirondack says, medical tourism is a big business in Brazil. Most of plastic surgeries. Yes. But you go to places like Vietnam, Thailand, you're getting like, kidney surgery and stuff. So yeah. All right. If I go down here, let's see here. Andrew goes scalable by state to start with. Agreed. I think that's how we start it that way. I do. I think we start it that way and see if it works and begin to change culture. Yes. So, all righty. Phil says, I heard about a business who sent their employees to Mexico and hired a doctor from Johns Hopkins to do a surgery in Mexico. It was still cheaper than a local hospital in Alabama. Yeah. Well, because they don't have all the middlemen. They don't have all the middlemen. The middleman is what makes it terrible. That's it. So Andrew goes, AI judges. Yeah. Well, look, do the right thing or that should happen. So yeah, 100%. Little J, would a regular citizen be able to invest in this? Yes, of course. I like that. So Mr. Matt Arcade says, Larry, thanks for asking my question about healthcare. Of course. This is an AMA. That's what I'm doing. Yes. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm trying to give you as many as I possibly can. So Liberty says, do you make UBI by your social credit score? Not in this case, right? That's how China might do it, right? And that's the other problem with UBI. You've hit my second part, which I didn't want to bring up, but I will now. The other part about a UBI system is, again, Milton Friedman's concept was everything else goes away. But you and I both know that's not how that's going to work. First off, it's not all going to go away. And there will be that type of thing where you didn't say the right thing, act the right way. So now you're not getting your full UBI, or you're getting half UBI, or do the right thing, vote the right way, say the right thing, you get double UBI or whatever. You know what's going to happen. So I wish it wouldn't, right? If, again, I'll go back to the same thing. If I honestly believed, I do not, but if I honestly believed that a UBI would get rid of everything else, and there wouldn't be this kind of credit score, social credit score thing, and they wouldn't be, well, I'm a veteran, so I have 2 kids, so I'm disabled, so I get. If I honestly believe none of that would happen, I might be open to the idea, maybe, but we all know all 3 of those things are going to happen. There's still going to be other social structure. They're still going to keep all those jobs. There's going to be some kind of social credit score thing where you did the wrong thing, so we debank you or whatever. There's going to be that. There's going to be special this, and it's all that's going to happen. So I get the concept of UBI, but I'm just being realistic. We all know, D, you're right. That's going to happen. Of course it is. So, yeah. All righty. Matt says, regular citizens making money off the stock market. Crom laughs at the 4 wins. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. But, I am Simatai. So my God is better than your God, because my God is above your God. The 4 wins. Actually, I'm a Crom guy anyway, so yeah. Don't pray to Crom, though, by the way. He doesn't listen. Some of you got that Conan joke. Some of you didn't. Matt clearly got that. That's all from Conan the Barbarian. Back in the day, in the 80s when that came out, you could not have got a better Conan the Barbarian. Schwarzenegger was the best. I mean, it was perfectly done for him. That movie was made for him. Like, that was made for him. Perfect. The ones after that were terrible, but that one was good. I enjoyed the original Conan tremendously. One of my favorite movies from the 80s. One of my favorite ones. So yes. Ingrid says, Larry, I love that concept. Yeah. I hope it will work. We'll see. All righty. Robert says, Larry, well, I don't have connections to the NOI. For those of you who don't know, NOI is the Nation of Islam. I would imagine the philosophies of the original align in many ways libertarians. I think it's true. Again, I brought this up before. You brought us up once before. People aren't listening who haven't heard about this. Back in the day, when people like Malcolm X were part of the Nation of Islam, it was very much about Black people picking themselves up by their bootstraps, Black businesses selling to Black businesses, that kind of thing, keeping the Black community tight and together. That was a lot of their core issues, which is why they seemed to be very anti-white. And some were very anti-white. That was true. But not all were, but some were very anti-white. And it was because they were trying to be very pro-Black, which, I mean, that's libertarian. If you want to build your own community and do things that are great, again, no worries. So I do think some of them would have aligned. I don't really have any connections in the Nation of Islam at all now. I don't really know if they're anywhere near that or have those thought process. I don't know. I actually don't know. So, and again, those of you may be more ignorant, the Nation of Islam is an organization that is heavily about Black Muslims, right? African-American Muslims. It's heavily about African-American Muslims. There are non-African-American Muslims in it, but it is heavily about African-American Muslims. So there we go. Have the libertarians tried to build a relationship with NOI, especially their presence in New York and go to the East Coast? No, maybe we should. Maybe we should. So we'll see. All righty. I think that covers that. I covered that piece. Nice. I'm trying to get rid of some of these. Others move through. I'm catching up, guys. I am catching up. Yes. All righty. Here, Phil says, Larry's coming home with a stone line from Staten Island. Oh, I like that. I like that. Mike says, expect great photos and I'm more charming in person. Larry and Roger know it. Is that wrong? Not somebody with me, though. But yes, it's true. Yes, it is true. All righty. Braun, of course, has to smack minarchism. Of course he does. I was a minarchist until I ran out of excuses. I will go the opposite. I was an anarchist till I realized it doesn't work. How about that? Till I became more realistic. Ooh, there we go. So I guess we could insult each other back and forth if we want to, Bronner. So yes. Kate says, my brain, I hope you got any leftover jokes and puns from earlier today. I hope. Perhaps a haiku. I'm not sure what that's from. Is that for me? I don't know. Shelley says, thank you, Larry, for speaking about the farm issues with the solar farms. Joel Doling and I would love to hear you speak to Alexander. If she'll talk, I'm happy to talk to her. But look, you guys know I've been talking about farmers for years. I've had plans for farms for years. New York State has grown by three things I say all the time: farming, finance, forward thinking, the 3 Fs, right? We're destroying all 3 of them. We need all of them. We need all of them. And so, yeah, of course it matters. So Robert says, I was on the fence with UBI until I heard an explanation from Irami Osei Frimpong, the funky academic on YouTube. I prefer a government jobs program. I get that piece too. That's another idea people have had. Instead of just paying people money, instead, just give them a job, right? That's the concept. At least they're working for the money. I get that concept. I do. But I got to tell you, if I had to pick between the two, I would rather just give the money. I'd rather just get, if I have a choice, right? Again, I hope those aren't my only 2 choices. But if those are my only 2 choices, I'd rather give the money, because if I give them the job, they're believing they're providing value when they're not, because it's a government job I'm making up. Now they want to get promoted and stuff. And no, just get the money and then go do things. Go create value in the market. And if you do negative income tax, you can grow yourself out of that job. So I get why some people rather have a job. I think no. If my only 2 choices are those 2, I would rather I'd rather give money. Right? That's what I'd rather do if I could. So yes. Massman Owl goes, what do we want? Incrementalism. When do we want it? Whenever. It's cute. Why are you guys hammering me now with incrementalism? Now you beat me up. No. When we want it? Now. Wise ass. Now. So yes. Not eventually. Now. Adirondack goes, yeah, nice Conan reference. It was good. I agree. 100%. That was good. Josh says, is it possible to have universal health care without government involvement? It's the only way to have it. Otherwise, it won't happen. It won't happen. Of course. Yes. So, Mike says, Larry, remember the bionic watermelon from Captain Tennille? That's more intelligent than UBI. I remember the bionic watermelon. Jesus Christ, Captain Tennille. Wow. 70s. There used to be a thing in the 70s called a variety show. Doesn't exist now. Now they would make it called skit show, maybe, but a variety show where like it'd be a show with just fun stuff. So there'd be like a musician, and then there'd be like a comedy skit, and then they'd sing a song, or then there'd be like some cool interview. So it was called a variety show back in the day. And the Captain Tennille, they would host a variety show back in the day. So yeah, I remember that. That was good. So, all right. And see, Osmonds had one too. There was a couple of variety shows out there. I've forgotten a bunch of them. So, all righty. I walked down there. All right. Mastermind, I saw Conan in the theater. I remember I did too. I was young enough that I was embarrassed for my mom at the scene where Conan threw the naked witch. I remember that. Yes. Yeah. She throws the naked witch into the fire. Yes. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that too. Yes. In fact, I remember that I used to play Dungeons and Dragons. So we were looking at what were the effective Dungeons and Dragons rules and which weren't. So yeah. I always do that. Whenever I watch any type of thing like that, I always decide, okay, wait a minute, hold on. Does this follow Dungeons and Dragons rules? Because that's all that matters, is does it do that or not? So yes. All righty. Master says, Voss, he's like Lucille Ball in a chocolate factory. Kinda. I do catch up eventually. So yes. Anyway. So Matt says, I think it's a sketch comedy show. Yeah, now maybe it's that. So yeah, maybe it's that now. So it could be that now. So guys, I'll make sure you know something like that. If you are around tomorrow, please come see me. And again, I'm bringing Mike Voss with me. So if you are downstate New York or somewhere in that area and you can show up, come on out and see us. You will see me and Mike at Bailey's Smokehouse at 1 p.m. In Blauvelt, which is in Rockland County, or at 6 p.m., the Alchemist Lounge, which is in Staten Island. Come see us. We'll be there hanging out. Only doing 2 events this weekend. Usually I do 6 or 7. Only 2. Take a little bit of break. got family to deal with also. That's not a reason, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. So guys, do it if you can. I appreciate it. I know I've asked you before, but I'm asking one more time. Guys, please click the button known as like, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click it if you can. Share this, repost this if you can. If you have not subscribed to his channel, this page, subscribe, follow, whatever the case may be. Please do all those if you can. And if you want to become a member, support us, head on over to YouTube, The Sharpe Way. Click join. Give me a cup of coffee per month so that I can keep this thing moving forward. Remember our rules. After the live, remember, since I started running for governor, I've had to split up where I show this and also where I promote it. So I lose viewership because of that. It is something I've accepted as true. It sucks, but it's true. So I need you to help me out. Please help me out. I need you to help me out so that I can keep growing, even though I had to take a hit because of this run, but I'm doing it anyway. So after this is over, please comment, and please comment on what do you think about the economy? Whatever it is, just tell me what you think about the economy. Is it really that bad? Is it not that bad? Is it Trump's fault? Not Trump's fault? Is it AI's fault? Is it Biden's fault? I don't care. What is it? Please tell me what you think about the economy after the live. And if this is not live and you're watching it later on, you can see 2 videos pop up. Please pick one of them and watch it right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Algorithm loves that. I will see you all very soon.